This here's Lenore Zan, and you're watching Fandoms.
Welcome to Fandoms, a show from every fan's point of view.
And yes, welcome. I am Tony, and with me again is Will. We are talking about basically fandoms, any type of fandoms, and we have a number of things that we're going to be covering this evening. But before we get any farther, I just want to say this. This is our last show on the Nerd Initiative Network.
Scared me for a second.
Let's face it. If we take our faces away, you can see the image. It was also the placeholder, but we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. That moving forward, we will be moving this show to It's Fanbox, which is another sister company to Nerd Initiative, for the purpose of giving a little bit more of a free space for creation. If you've watched anything on Nerd Initiative or looked at the articles, it's basically a powerhouse of just producing content. And so sometimes you've got ideas that don't fit into the mold of things, and we want to give opportunities to give free expression for those things. And so we'll hopefully be having people on, and the ultimate goal, this is also streaming as well on It's Fanbox right now on the YouTube channel and everything else. So let me just go ahead and drop this here as well, because if you're not already following It's Fanbox, this is going to take you to the link tree, which will give you the Instagram and the TikTok accounts, as well as the YouTube channel, which you will be seeing us streaming from. We will be dual streaming from X. Did I say X before? We'll be dual streaming from X as well as on YouTube, and in the future, Facebook as well, because the Nerd Initiative Facebook page is actually going to be turning into the It's Fanbox page. It's Fanbox page. It's a lot of logistics, a lot of things.
Wait, what?
You know.
Okay, never mind. You know what? No, I don't.
No, like I don't even know why I'm over explaining this, except for I love the idea of transparency and saying what's going on. So if you're already following the Nerd Initiative Facebook, we'll be converting that to the It's Fanbox as.
Gotcha.
So here's how it worked. When Michael and I created the company,
sorry,
I created the Facebook page.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, okay.
I know. Stick a pin in that. So let me be clear.
Okay.
We're leaving. Fandoms is leaving to its own YouTube channel now over on its Fanbox, right?
Yes.
So basically, let's just call it the Fanbox YouTube page. But like, and a bad analogy, but it sounds like you're getting the Facebook in the divorce kind of thing.
Well, no, it's not even that. Okay, so it's really simple. For those who don't know, Instagram and Facebook are the same company, Meta. And so when we created Nerd Initiative, Michael and I, we kind of knew what we were doing. Michael had the Instagram and the Twitter and everything already hooked up, and we managed it. And then I felt like we needed to be on Facebook, and so I created the Facebook page. But we have a Facebook page that doesn't match the Instagram page, and so it's time to fix that. And so since I created the Instagram for It's Fanbox, and I own the Nerd Initiative page for Facebook,
gotcha.
We're combining those, and then
I understand.
Michael will create. So it's logistics at its worst,
and this BS stuff that Facebook does, making us integrate all our crap together. So now it's just
exactly
easier. I completely.
It's as frustrating as it was for people who got the Oculus Quest when it became the Meta Quest. Yeah. And then you had the option of either keeping the email login or going over to Facebook. And then if you change the two, like it was a whole big hassle. And I'm just glad that we've kind of figured it out so that it'll be better down the road. Cool. But that's not why anybody's watching. Like, that's not why.
I don't know why anybody's watching. Wait, what? No, that's not what I meant.
Oh, thanks for that. No, but see, look, you're the collector. Makes sense. That's why we say it. Because listen, the cool part is with It's Fanbox or anything else, we want to make it where the viewer has a chance to be the creator. So there will be opportunities down the road for people who are in the chat that are active to have that opportunity to jump in and actually be guests on the show. Because again, it's Fanbox. It's for fans by fans.
And everybody's got a story.
Exactly. And I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to try some stuff new. Mainly, I'm going to try to be organized, which we won't know as Will is fixing his unruly robots.
Oh man, they just want me to. Sorry.
But yeah, so that's happening. This is our last show on the Nerd Initiative Network, and so please remember. Let me throw that back up there again. I don't know why
God, you said again, because I don't know if people on Fandoms know this or not, and it's kind of funny that I can't remember things, but unfortunately, I have a little bit of a condition right now, right? So by you saying again, there was a very brief moment just now where I thought I had gone back in time. I'm like, I touched the robots too much. I felt the rage, and somehow I shifted back 20 seconds or so. So,
okay.
Whew.
Not like you've had things you had to deal with lately at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so so make sure you follow the QR code. There's this one here, and I'm also going to throw this one up on the corner here for you. That one there will take you directly to the website, which literally just takes you right to the YouTube channel. Because even if you don't want to like search us on YouTube, just go to itsfanbox.com and it'll take you to our YouTube channel. So it's that simple.
And that's the kind of simplicity I miss. People are always like, oh, go to my link tree, get my this, that. No, go to my domain and it'll send you everywhere or it'll provide you access to everywhere we are. I miss that. Yeah. It's a bygone era.
And we've got a lot of interesting stuff that we're kind of working out, not just with Fanbox, not just with Nerd Initiative, but possibly a good resource for convention information. And so there's a lot of stuff down the road. And then its Fanbox may not always point directly to the YouTube channel. At some point we may end up, building hosting and making a site that is not anything like what we've got for Nerd Initiative. I really would have loved to have done like a multimedia page where it's just all of our videos, all of our shows, and kind of like a repository of just videos from our YouTube. So whatever it ends up being, I think it's going to be pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to it. And of course, thank you, Will, for being a part of the ride and for helping. You stepped in when Michael was on hiatus back in October, and we never took took you away, and so you
eventually I'll let him out of the closet. I'll unhook the chains and I will set him free on the world. But until that time, the seat is mine. You must come and challenge me man to man and take this seat from my bare hands.
I'd love to see that. But so let's go ahead and get on with the show. And again, thank you everybody for joining us. A couple things we wanted to like really kind of like talk about before we kind of get into recent events or let's say the multimedia, the fandom type stuff. If you were with us as we started, you did notice this, and I think it's something worth talking about. We lost a legend, James Earl Jones. What's mostly being noted for as the voice of Darth Vader. But I also think of him as Field of Dreams, The Sandlot, Mufasa, like all of those. What? Did you freeze?
Absolute joy. Did I? Hey?
I think either you froze or I froze.
I even restarted my system before this, man. I was just saying that his role in The Sandlot was such a wonderful surprise. Not knowing he was in the movie and enjoying the ride that movie is up to that point is good, and then suddenly you're like, oh man, it's that voice, and he has a wonderful character in that. So many roles, We'll forgive him for Soul Man, but other than that, an entire. I mean, wasn't he in Conan the Barbarian?
Yes, he was. Yes.
Come on now.
He was also in a movie with Robin Williams. I can't remember the name of it right now, but he played a guy in like an electronic store that has a stutter, and it was so much fun kind of going back and watching clips. I was going to make a video for the show,
Mhm.
but I realized in the midst of wanting to do it right, like I couldn't get all of the clips I wanted, and so I figured it was better just to kind of talk about him than try to do something like that. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny because if people don't know, and if you don't follow me on my Instagram, which people have been asking me questions, I've been answering them. Big Bang Theory kind of runs nonstop in our household on some point. I would
Oh.
love I would love to see if there was a ticker somewhere on Max that could show you how many times you've watched the show. Because I know we have completed the entire 12 seasons multiple times within I think we completed at least I think we do it at least twice a week where it goes through the whole season. Like, cause it's like I usually have to fall asleep to something. So that's usually playing in the background or, dinner or whatnot. Like, I just love the show. And his appearance in the episode where, Sheldon's there and he's like, let me guess, you're a Star Wars fan. He's like, and I've been in other movies and you know that. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, but you don't care about those, do you? And he's like, guess what? He's like, I love Star Wars too. And just the way he was, and then him um messing with his co-stars and stuff like that. Like that's what I've always seen. Like if you look at like documentaries where he talks about Darth Vader, like he was convinced that it was a misdirect, that it was a lie, that he was Luke's father.
Mhm.
You could tell he's invested in it. And I was on Hopsgeek News in the chat just watching the show yesterday, and they were talking about James Earl Jones, and I said, it's funny. I understand why he would have lent his voice and gave it over to like Disney, the rights to Disney for AI and stuff, because he doesn't want anybody else to be known as being Darth Vader other than him. Like his voice will always be Darth Vader no matter what. And I get that. Like he just loved it. He wasn't looking for money. He had enough money, I think, from his time.
Yeah, but
He was a very smart man, and
I'm sure a little extra doesn't hurt. And being the iconic voice of an iconic character, and you're giving it up for AI, I bet you that pays a pretty penny.
mhm.
I
Oh
want to
yeah,
make that James Earl Jones voice money. That's what I want to make.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, I just it's sad that he's gone, but I mean, 93 years,
That is if
like
I'll be we I think we both are like I'd be lucky.
be lucky to get there, and I hope that I could at least have some sort of impact, even a sliver of what he's done in his career, in his art. I mean, I was going through clips, and there's one where he did they did like a poetry jam at the White House, and he did a whole piece, and people were reading portions. He acted the whole thing out, and it was beautiful to see that. You could see he enjoyed it. And then again, a man who had a stutter and overcame that stutter through his art and
Hmm.
through doing poetry. It's rather amazing, and you realize what people overcome to
You
do
know,
tremendous things.
it wasn't until his passing, because I do not watch The Big Bang Theory. Maybe I'll entertain it now. Maybe. But naturally tidbits come up, and I had no idea that his appearance on The Big Bang Theory was the first time that he actually got to meet Carrie Fisher, or
Oh
at least
yeah.
act in the same scene. And speaking of a legend and being present for it, this is going completely out of left field, but I've been unpredictable all damn night. But I will never forget when I was able to attend a poetry reading, poetry reading event that was at Kevin Smith's house. And Carrie Fisher was like, I didn't know she went through her spiel, and at the very end, the thing that she brought to read, which she did not read from, was that very familiar words, and it was the entire delivery that leads into "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope."
Oh
She did the whole thing, the full dialogue from when they get to see the hologram. It's just like you don't. It's amazing when you get to be present with a legend. Like, and sometimes you get lucky in life and get to do things. And another memory I have just in meeting a legend and being completely gobsmacked. I was
Mhm.
at an event in San Diego Comic-Con, and I look over and I see Neil Gaiman. And the first thing that my mind immediately says is, "Oh my God, is that Neil Gaiman?" You feel like you've seen a unicorn in the real
Mhm.
world. But anyway, James Earl Jones, amazing accomplishments. I did not know about the stutter as well, so that just another reason to admire a great person. I only hope one person admires me as much as, well, I think my kids do. Never mind. Let's take that back.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I mean, just when you and again, if you're in a place where you haven't met a celebrity, and you haven't like been able to do those things. I mean, I know Will needs to go pick up off the floor all the names that he's been dropping, but there is this, you know, there is this thing about when you meet celebrities. There are the ones who they're immediately humble. They're you can tell they're good. They're kind people, that they love what they do and they love their fans. There's the ones who act humble and they put on a show in front of their fans, but it doesn't really lend to who they are. And then there's the ones that, they they act like full tilt divas. Um, every time I've seen something with James Earl Jones in it, he never seemed to have that persona. He loved what he did, and he was definitely one of those guys who had a full range of gravitas, I guess you could say.
One hell of a smile.
So, oh yeah. All right. With that said, let's keep moving. We're gonna try to
Hey.
not be super long tonight.
By the way, Tony, did I ever tell you about the time I had dinner with all but one of the kids in the hall? Never mind. Let's move on.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. When you were dropping names and talking, I will say this. It reminds me of the story. Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw mine out there too. When we went to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 premiere, we're running into celebrities, and again, you run into people. And my wife, who obviously is watching right now, walked up to Seth Green and is like, "Oh, my name is Rebecca. Who are you?"
Oh,
And he
Seth, oh
goes,
my God.
and he goes, "Oh, I'm Seth Green." And she's like, "Oh,
And what do you do?
yeah, well, that's nice." And she's like, "What do you do?" Like, that's exactly what when she walked away, he was kind of like, and I'm watching this happen, and she's like, "Who is it?" I'm like, "Austin Powers, Robot Chicken. He's Howard the Duck in the Guardians of the Galaxy."
Mhm.
She's like, "Oh, okay. I didn't know." I'm like,
Whereas
"Yeah,
you're like,
it was obvious." Yeah. Yeah. So, but she did. And when I say like showman, like, she was excited because we were able to meet Nathan Fillion. And I don't know, Nathan Fillion has like this on like demeanor where he just seemed like, because she said, "Can we get a picture?" He's like, "I never thought you'd ask." I never thought you'd ask or whatever. And like, he just obviously just seemed like he was just putting on the showmanship. And,
Can I just
you never know.
tell you, however, that Lord have mercy. I'm gonna throw a hip out carrying and dropping so many names, but many, many moons ago I worked for a 3D video game company called the Group
Mhm.
Alliance. And at that time I was working with a wonderful, fun guy named Jed Whedon. Okay. And I'm
Okay.
just like, wow, funny last name. And he just looked at me and he said, "Yeah, it's my brother." I'm like, okay. And then his part of his music career was taking off, at which point he was getting ready to leave. And he's like, what's one thing you'd want to do? And I'm like, dude, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is near ending. If there's any way I could just visit the set, I don't need to meet anybody. Can we do it? It's like, let me make a phone call. Got it all arranged, and we went. And the Nathan Fillion that I got to meet on that set was, because I just saw him talking with a director whose name we won't mention, or well,
Mhm.
we were all walking around because somebody was related to that guy, and he was just so nice and cordial and friendly, and an amazing guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I see him anytime now, and okay, if you and I'm just gonna say this, if you walk into a Spirit Halloween this Halloween season, and you're looking to dress up as a cop, I'm just going to tell you right now, there is a costume called Cop Cutie. And
Oh, lovely.
all I think about is Cop Cutie, cute and on duty. And the
Navy
amount of
blue
propaganda
booties.
that it has run in my head is just ridiculous. What was that?
I said navy blue booties.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Go
And they got
ahead,
the
lock
handcuffs you
me
can
up.
buy to lock you up.
Arrest me,
Yep. All right.
but make it sexy.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving
By the
on.
way,
So
I just want to tell the audience, I am sorry, and no, nobody is paying me, and I don't have a bet with somebody about how many times can you drop a name during this episode. That is not what's happening, and I'm so sorry. By the way, Tony, did you know that Kevin Smith has a new movie and podcast out now?
I heard something about it. Could you give us a little listen? I'm on with you on Netheads,
Mhm.
pretty often, and I appreciate that. Just like I fill in for Trent. You've kind of permanently been a permanent fixture here, but um tell us a little bit about what's going on at Smodcast with Kevin Smith.
Well, he and his daughter originally did well. Actually, the biggest and most important thing is that a very charming R-rated movie called The 430 Movie, it has a limited release right now. So just go to Fandango if you have an interest in it, and see if it's playing anywhere near you, and watch the trailer, check it out. But also, he and his daughter are doing a new podcast that is an evolution of a podcast that started on his membership club as an exclusive, and the name is I'm not going to say the name. It's Beardless Somethingless Me. Just Google Kevin Smith if you want to check out the podcast. But it's one he does with his daughter. Now, I
Okay.
bring all this up because some that has come out, and so it was kind of a double whammy. He was in New York and able to be on Late Night with Seth Meyers.
Mhm.
And the coolest thing about this for me, and I just mean this as in, like, for me personally, it makes me giggle. Everyone else is just like, oh my god, will this prick shut up? I understand. But I was watching or a little bit beforehand, I had somebody reached out and they're like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you make the movie poster into a square? And I'm like, yes, I can. So it was the 430 movie, move the marquee down, get rid of some letters,
Mhm.
works out perfectly. Part of a bit that Kevin did was having Seth read a script, but he also queued everything up for plugs. So they had on foam core backed pictures. He had the album or the album artwork for Beardless Stickless Me that he does with his daughter. Okay, I said it. And the other thing he held up was that Square movie poster. And I'm like, hey, I just saw something that I had a hand in on national television.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
But
cool.
like I said, again, pretentious to everybody else, braggadocious, if you will, to everybody else. But like, I literally was giggling this morning, just giggling like a happy little child on Christmas morning.
But isn't that what it's all about? I mean, let's face it. If we're gonna talk about shameless plugs of the nerdy stuff that we do, that we get involved with,
Is that what this episode is devolving into?
at this point it could. I've got actual things to talk about that we've been trying to get to for the last 5 minutes, but mind you, we could just continue talking.
But you won't
about
shut up, Will. Please tell me
It's like-
another story. I'm dying to hear about how you were standing outside of a building in San Francisco with Eddie Griffin. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Move on.
Well, it's just like Z talking about how you helped that what was it, that nerd show set up a podcast once. I mean, we're gonna just we're just gonna do a whole cover letter for you.
What did I
We
do
might as well
now?
go for it. Z said something about you helping a nerd show set up. I'm thinking it helped the cast member from the nerd show. Is that Kevin Smith?
No, I don't remember which one. Again, I have a brain injury.
Of all the things that you have done to help the from Play TV to everything. We can just talk about everything. But speaking of shameless plugs, I want to go ahead and throw this out here real quick. If you are a fan of Comic Book Machine, I am. I'm not getting paid to say this, but I will say I have been given free items that I want to talk about real quick. And listen, I may be Mr. Marvelite on social media, but one of the things that I've gotten my hands on is the Batman subscription set from Fanhome. And the first one I got was this nice little hardback book that's the 0 Year Part 1 for Batman. And then I got 2 following that, which was, of course, 0 Year Part 2. And then I got Batman and Son, which, if you don't know, this is where Bruce Wayne discovers that he has a son, Damian, who has been raised by the League of Assassins, and he's basically trying to help him get on the straight and narrow, as he's basically like a kid who wants to kill people, and so he's teaching him to be Robin. And what's really cool, I haven't gotten enough of these yet, but these will actually combine together, and the binding will actually be an image of Batman once they all come in. And so beyond, I will say this story, 0 Year, is very reminiscent to the Batman Begins story. And I've been enjoying reading it. In fact, my wife sat down and was reading it as well. And so I have to say, these are really well made. And if you don't know, Fanhome does a lot of the like subscription sets where you want to build something like an Optimus Prime or an ET, because everybody wants to build an ET. And they're now doing like Star Trek ships. They also have like a whole line of like the little mini Marvel replica things. But I will say, for the books, it's definitely worth a look into. I'm enjoying them. So that's my shameless plug for the show. But we can actually move on to other stuff, unless there's another name we could drop.
Oh, no. I believe I have made sure the audience hates me enough in totality.
I don't think anybody hates you. All right. So,
say anything, Tony. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just said I would, but if I would say anything, of all of the pretentiousness that I have been exuding, the one thing I will say is that all of it just goes to show that if you pursue your passion, you can make things happen. If that's a song lyric, I apologize. I'm not trying to crib it. I'm just saying, though, that, like all of these things were things that one way or another, not to use the I don't know if it's postmodern, modern age term of manifesting it, but by pursuing my passions, I was persistent enough to make things happen. And so, just take that, especially in this social media age that we're within, with short-term vertical content. I mean, there are people that we are follow or we're mutuals with, that it's just like, wait, hold on. Why is Amanda just vibing at the VMAs? What? Wait, what?
Or why is Juju Straw Hat Goofy like spending the afternoon with Halle Berry? Like, why?
Yeah. What happened?
What
there?
are we doing in life? Like, what's happening here? No,
but
but
that's
it's funny because
yeah. If you're persistent, just don't let go. And in an earlier time, in a different age, in the early times of its adoption, for example, I was able to even, get one social media platform with a reasonable following, I guess is the best way to put it. And again, that was just through persistence. Oh, this thing works. Well, let's see what we can do. We'll throw stuff at the wall and see what happens. So anyway, that's my whole point, is that just pursue your dreams, work with what you're passionate with. You can make things happen.
No, absolutely. And I will say, like, don't, and I guess the other suggestion would be made. I guess we're going to do inspirational, statements now.
It's just hang in
don't, yeah, with the cat, but literally working, like starting Nerd Initiative. We thought, maybe we get in conventions, I have made friends in the industry that I never thought I would, and it was just because we decided we wanted to do something different. And it's funny because I was just looking, John Caglione Jr., Emmy and Oscar winning makeup artist. He was Heath Ledger's makeup artist for The Dark Knight. We've done convention panels with him. We took him to his first convention, and he got to see a whole bunch of Joker cosplays and stuff.
Huh.
And he was on his Instagram stories, and I'd known he did a video where he was making like an Andy mask from Terrifier and I was assuming he was in Terrifier 3, but I could never see credits. And then he posted something where he's like, oh yeah, loved working with this person. I'm like, he wasn't it. Like, dude, what were you doing? Because like, I'm like, I didn't know. And like the ability for me to actually talk to him or text him or email him, it's humbling to realize that, everybody has their own level of success. But if you just go out and do something, whether or not it makes you rich and famous, but it makes you happy with what you're doing, it's worth it. And with your statement you said earlier, I was trying to think if there was lyrics that matched what you said. And honestly, the only thing that went through my head had nothing to do with anything that you were saying. And I hesitate to say what it was now because, it would go on a whole different rabbit trail of conversation. So, but yeah, I mean, just do what you love.
And you know what else?
And
don't be afraid to quote unquote fail, because failure is nothing but success training. Because once you know what doesn't work, you're one step closer to what does.
Yeah.
What other things
you learn from failure just as much as you may learn from success, if maybe not more. Okay. Wow. We are what? 31 minutes in, and we really haven't talked about anything.
I'm giving you the full netheads treatment on this one, man.
Hey, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Well, we did have netheads last night, so this works. I was like, that's why I said we don't have to repeat stuff. I'm gonna throw things on the board. So it came out. Marvel Studios is giving us the schedule for Agatha All Along. Starting with September 18th with the first 2 episodes and ending on October 30th, giving us the full treatment before the 31st of October with the last 2 episodes. This will be at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And you can see the dates there. Super excited. I wish we still had Stream Lounge to be able to stream these together. But I'm super excited. I'm super excited for a continuation from WandaVision. I hope it's good. Aubrey Plaza looks horrifying in this, just like really relentless and wild, and I'm looking forward to it.
You know what? Even if we can't do it with other people, maybe we can do it with each other, Tony. Let me rephrase.
Let's rephrase that. Yes, please.
Don't tell me about your personal life. Just get to the point. We both have Oculus Quest. Is there a way we can? This is how well and how much I have used mine. Is there a?
You froze there for a second. I don't know if we can stream on big screen through the Oculus. That might be something worth trying. I know that there are places where you can have like your own little screening room and you can invite people in. And that might be the way to go to try to watch it and actually be able to talk. We wouldn't be able to record it, but I have to look into it. We got some time. Of course, I have a Disney Plus subscription that's got ads now, and that was fun when the first time I tried it.
Oof.
So, so maybe we'll have you stream it from your big screen if I can figure it out.
That's an idea.
Okay. So, along with the Agatha All Along schedule, and the last trailers we also got a trailer for Sony's Venom 3 or Venom: The Last Dance.
Man. The nerds are in.
Have you seen it yet?
I have seen the entire trailer. Yes.
Okay. And so a couple things. It looks like it's a symbiote invasion. And of course it ended with this scene right here, which is, and also this image of this character right here, which is a possible, and I think they confirmed it, but it's pointing to Null, who is the god of the symbiotes in the comic books. He is the kind of the big bad when it comes to Venom. He's actually the antagonist in the storyline. I even pulled out the omnibus for this, for the King in Black, where basically the symbiotes have gone through the universe, and you can see imagery of like them just kind of taking over the heroes and the villains. And it's up to Venom to save the world. And as excited as I am for the concept, I'm not excited for Null to be in Venom 3 because it means they'll never be able to use him in the MCU.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. I think it's just for us people that don't know anything. It's wonderful to see everyone else on social media commenting about it and advising us about who Null is. So I enjoyed that, and
Yeah.
it's kind of pretty much on Front Street because like near the beginning of the trailer, Eddie says who is it, and Venom says my creator. So I mean, they're
Yep.
definitely doing the building blocks there. The other thing that's to be afraid of is, of course, that it's a Sonyverse movie. So what way are they going to bastardize Null? But like I said, I don't know anything about it, so I'm okay.
So from the rumors that I'm reading online, he may not be the full villain for the story. It sounds like he's going to be teased and that he may appear somewhere else. And my thought is, oh no, I know what's going to happen, because in King in Black, like, it's everybody, the Avengers, everybody are working with Venom and Eddie Brock to try to stop this invasion. And what do we? I don't want to say it. It's going to be the end of Venom: The Last Dance, and it's the last Venom movie. But we'll probably have a crossover with Craven, Morbius, Vulture, and Venom together.
Well,
And
we
that's
already,
going to be,
yeah, because we had the nonsensical meeting between the Vulture and Morbius, right? That
yeah.
happened. So, I mean, it literally could just even be, if they want to be terrible about it, an extension of that where Venom shows up to join the conversation. Because obviously it's one of those things too where you're like, are they projecting everything about this movie and it is going to be the end of Venom, or are they trying to set us up for that so that way when we see it we're totally shocked that Venom doesn't die by the end of this. So, but I will say, of
well,
all
the
of all
only,
the Sonyverse movies, the Venom ones are the ones I can tolerate the most because they're just good stupid fun in many ways.
oh, I even forgot Madam Web. She could be in it too.
I don't think you forgot Madam Web so much as blocked the painful memory. It happens.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I can't
like
remember
childhood trauma. Oh, you broke up again.
the asphalt and using my face to break my fall. Remember, using the asphalt to brace my fall when I got my concussion. But you can't remember Madam Web. Some things are too traumatic to bear in mind.
Some things are worth forgetting. It's just how it is. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of a move away from entertainment and let's talk about technology for a minute. I'm trying to cover all the bases since we
Did
didn't
you hear
have
about the
anything from
AirPods
NetHeads.
too?
Yes, I did.
That's big news
Yes.
for me because I'm getting older. Plus, I always have ringing in my ears. So I bet you when it comes to Apple II Pros getting FDA loading hearing aid, which by the way, they don't last. But for those of us hearing aid, but don't want to wear a hearing aid, but don't mind walking around wearing our AirPod Pros, that's good news because I already, as a practice, like when we go to dance competitions and stuff for my daughter, I will wear my AirPod Pros in the loud room, both to block out the loud music, but also when we're walking around the crowd, if I'm using noise cancellation and I filter out a lot of the background noise, I can hear people's voices better. So clearly I'm a candidate. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack again. I need to be.
Oh no.
You need a little button you can press on your side that just sends a jolt to my chair and shuts me up.
Oh no, you're fine. No, and speaking of Apple, I wanted to talk about Hayway, because they put out a better phone and tablet than let's just face it, iPhone in a sense. This is a trifold phone. It's not available in the US. In fact, it sounds like it's only going to be available right now. It's only available in China. But this sucker looks cool. And we've talked about folding phones before, but I kind of feel like this one has the potential. One of the videos I saw for it, the guy folded it so that the screen itself was basically like the mount or the easel mount, so that it just kind of held itself up so he could sit there and look at it. And I'm like, it's one of those points where Apple keeps giving us something. I mean, let's face it, the iPhone 16 Pro is basically just going to do AI. It's got some things that are better, but Apple, as much as I'm an Apple file because of all the things that I do with my phone, my tablet, I like them all to be linked up and I like them all to be consistent. And I know, you work with a Mac, right? You have a Mac.
Yeah, let me tell you something, because if you want to find me anywhere on social media, that Will Wilkins, right? When I actually make content, I mostly use an iPhone, and my favorite thing about that, because I am pretentious and want to edit my videos sometimes as well on a computer instead of on my phone, and I love the ability to just either save the video to photos and wait for it to sync, or to just airdrop it over to my MacBook and then put it in the folder for
Oh,
editing.
listen, I use Photoshop for like our background art and stuff like that for the shows and everything. And as much as I love using Photoshop, I'll be honest, I love being able to take a picture and then pressing on the person and cutting them out of the image because it makes things like really easy. Oh, look at that. We just moved.
When you do that, we can't hear you.
I know I didn't say
At least I
anything.
couldn't hear you. Oh, okay, good.
As I said,
Yeah,
made this, and then I came back and said really easy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's
Yeah. Yeah, because
no, and
I have to use Adobe Photoshop for that, and there's always the refining of it, and
yeah, but so that's what I do. I take my iPhone, I edit the picture, and then I sync it with my iCloud. I download it on my PC, and then I throw it into Photoshop, and it makes it a lot easier than me having to do all the other stuff because it always seems like when I'm working with Photoshop, if I try to do it, I cut something out important, and I have to go back and like do it like do the little fine touches, and it takes me
yeah,
forever.
or
I
or
just
you
I just don't want to do.
or you
I have
miss a
Tourette's,
detail.
okay? I have Tourette's. So there are times when I'm trying to trace over an image and all of a sudden I just for no reason. And so the intrusive thoughts win sometimes. And so being able to hold down the picture and cut it out automatically makes it really cool. And if I have to erase a couple little things, that's no big deal.
Plus,
So
man, sometimes you miss a detail, and then you've
mhm.
created YouTube thumbnail where it looks like your co-host is wearing like just donuts over his ears rather than a full headphone, and you regret that to this day. It looks like you're wearing earmuffs in one image, is just like black thing, just the black part of the headphone is left. Not even the whole body of the headphone. Somehow it just got the black foam part. And I'm just like, oh man,
Mhm.
I really should have been paying better attention. Sorry.
Yeah. I would listen, and it's one of those things where it's like I wish I had some good wireless headphones that I could just like put in my ear. I was doing for a long time with this because I don't. If you guys don't know, we use Restream up until this episode. After this episode, we're migrating over to StreamYard. Um, there is this option for noise cancellation, so you could actually have your speakers going and it should cut it out of out of the microphone. And it's always worked for me, but I always get people say, "Well, I hear an echo or whatever else," and so I gave up and went back to headphones.
That's why
And
a long time ago I went with these in-ear monitors. What people mostly never see me do on video is right before we go on air, I also like them to be tight against my head. So you know how the headphones have sliders? I look like a
Mhm.
bald guy who's trying to adjust a non-existent ponytail.
That's great. That's great. I have bone conductive headphones that I could probably sync to my computer.
There's always going to be
Hmm.
like unless they're a low latency headphone, there's always going to be a slight delay that will drive you insane. The only
Well,
time
speaking of
I
slight delays,
Yeah, man. I don't know. I got to take apart my whole internet situation. I think I don't know what's going on here.
well, no, I wasn't talking about that. I'm like, I'm using a DSL. Well, I'm using a Nikon Z30 for my camera, which gives me good resolution, but I have to delay my audio. So if you guys ever watch the show and you ever wonder why I'm talking over someone or why there's a pause, and it's especially worse on Will's show with Netheads because he'll switch the camera and I don't know when Will's switching the camera, and so there's this pause where I'm sitting there going, like trying to motion, but it's too late. It just looks
Dude,
like I'm
but I
like,
come on your show. I'm messing with robots. I'm getting distracted by things on the desk. Stop stressing about it. It's not like I'm going to cut to you when you look like an absolute idiot.
you
Yeah, because
do though.
I can see you the whole time. So well, I guess sometimes
Like
it's
like
kinda
there'll be
different.
times I like. Do you realize? Have you ever watched? Y'all can't see this, but if you've ever watched Netheads, if you ever see Will and he switches over to me and I'm already going like this, it's because I typically, when the camera's not on me, I at least nod because I know that at some point the camera could go to me, and then I'm sitting up here like this.
Let,
So by all means,
let me ask you something, Tony. You see this Camlink 4K here? You see that?
Mhm,
Try that again. See this Camlink 4K here? If
mhm.
you were to have this instead of what you're doing, would it get rid of the audio sync issue?
Yes.
There you go. Your lips to God's ears, my friend. Because I don't need another one laying around.
You have two?
No, I got one, but I don't need the one.
Oh.
I switched to a Facecam Pro from Elgato. And interestingly enough, too, like I was having this technical issue where the screen would get blacked out or the Elgato camera hub software would overpower the system. Well, not only did Tony advise me, you need to run an update, which really helped. But I've other than this internet delay issue that I've got to troubleshoot, things are so much easier. I mean, I'm my audio is just synced up perfectly and everything's working together in harmony because it's not different technology conflicting with each other. So
Mhm.
I don't know why I'm telling you
Oh, yeah.
that. There's a whole point. Technology can be fun, I guess. I don't know. Well, but
Well,
I'm going to send that to you so that way it'll get rid of your latency issue. Just let you sync that
you don't have
audio
you
in.
never had latency when you used it, right? Because I'd hate
No,
for you to send it in and it doesn't work.
no. Well, that's okay. Then you just
Okay.
send it back saying, I'm sorry, I lied.
All
Anyway,
right, deal. Last thing, we got some news about something that I really kind of felt was utterly unnecessary. Um, but we're getting it, and I guess if you are obsessed like some people are, I don't think you are, Will, or I. But the announcement for the
oh,
PlayStation 5 Pro
I caught
has come
wind
out.
of this, and it's basically just got like really beefed up GPUs, right?
Yeah, it's in fact, let me pull this up here real quick. I was looking at the stats earlier today. Um so they developed the Pro. It'll run with a higher fidelity graphics with a smoother frame rates of 60 frames per second. They upgraded the GPU. It has 67% more compute units. It has advanced ray tracing. It has a AI driven upscaling, which let's just back up for a second. You have a PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, for one game, but you have a PlayStation 5.
I do. Yeah,
I have
the
one
sad
back
thing is
here.
I haven't even played the damn game. But anyway,
Well, I have this, and it's funny though. I have my son and I have both been playing Spider-Man 2. Um, my son has beaten the game before I have, and the only reason that is because when it ever gets hard in the game, I'm the one who plays those rounds, and so I've basically played the game, but
hmm
not on my account, and so I don't have the energy to play it again to beat it at my level, which I need to go back and do because I have a track record of Spider-Man games. I complete them 100%, including DLC. Um, but on the box for the PlayStation 5, not the Pro, it said that it was good enough for like 8K gaming. And I took a gander, I took a look online to see how cheap 8K televisions have gotten in 2024. And the cheapest 8K television that I saw was a clearance television that you can't buy anymore at about $1,200 to $1,300. Now, that's not bad. That doesn't seem crazy because people have paid a lot of money for things before. And let's face it, back in 2000, 2001, that was like buying a laptop that could do nothing. And so already an upgrade for your money, but looking at the actual models that are available in Best Buy, you're looking at between $3,500 and like $5,000 to $6,000 for an 8K television. Why do I need a PS5 Pro that'll do better on an 8K television when I can't even afford the 8K television in fact, we have one 4K television in our house. When I mean, let's face it, I bought a 55-inch LG back when PlayStation 3 had Black Ops 2, the Call of Duty game, where it had the cool feature where it was passive 3D. So I had one set of glasses that was the player 1 and one set of glasses that were the player 2. And I had a buddy that would come over and we could play on a full screen, but we could play multiplayer. And that is still running pretty strongly in our bedroom now. And I have a 1080p projector that does 3D. I'm not in the market to buy 4K a lot. And I know some people, they're more up on it. But if I'm still not at the point of buying a 4K television and I'm basically running my PS5 at 1080p just so I can play Spider-Man 2, why am I going to spend the money on an 8K game, a game system for a TV I don't have?
You're not. You're absolutely not. And then, don't get me started about TVs and resolution and gaming systems, because one of the things that I did early on was I had adopted back during the pandemic when, really we wanted to make home entertainment fun. I got the Gradient LED strip that goes behind the TV by Philips Hue. And I had already 2 of the bar lights. So I set up on our TV the background lighting that adapts to what's on the screen. So that way it enhances the effect. Oh, pretty cool. But that thing is capped at 30 frames per second. My TV is capable of 60 frames per second, but that caps everything at 30 frames per second. Let's say I wanted to enjoy 4K content from my PS5. Well, I would have to take it out of my Hue sync because it won't pass through at 4K and at 60 frames per second. And, again, I'm even just focusing on 60 frames per second because that would be that ultra sharp resolution. You know what I mean? And my chosen video platform is the Amazon Fire TV, right? And that caps off at 30 frames per second. The only way I could truly watch HD content on my TV at 4K right now, the way I might want to, was if I finally used some of the apps that were installed on the TV. I'm sure Netflix on that thing would blow my mind.
But here's the thing, even with a 4K television with streaming apps that provide 4K, one, you have to have the 4K subscription. 2, if your streaming isn't strong enough, it's going to automatically downscale your image to where you're basically just watching 1080p. This is the biggest joke when Disney Plus first came out, like The Mandalorian was in 4K. I was watching it through, we have the TCLs, which have the Roku TVs built in. It could play, but there were moments where the resolution wasn't great. You're not going to get full 4K unless you're running a 4K capable device, PlayStation 5, PS4, and you're running it through an ultra high definition disc. It's just the way it is. Which brings a whole different thing. We're gonna have to do a whole episode about physical media, because I honestly feel like streaming services, people are saying that Marvel movies and blockbuster films are killing cinema and everything else. It's not. It's the streaming market. And I know we've talked a little bit, but it's worth its own episode because there's so much more I have to say about it.
But we have if you send me a breakdown, I'll shut up that episode. I'll participate, but I won't bull in a china.
No, I don't want you to shut up. Why would I want you to shut up? I want you to participate. I love you. If there's any question about this, and Will, I think you're kind of like me. We sometimes need reassurance about things. I no matter what rabbit trail we go on, I enjoy it. So we may lose every person watching.
Oh, believe me, we
All
did.
two of them. And and we may, my wife will get tired, she'll fall asleep, but I will enjoy the show, and that's really all that matters. Like, as long as I'm having fun, I'm not out for big bucks. But I will tell you, here's how they get you. Okay. I have a PlayStation 5, which I have hooked up to my TV, and that's where I do a lot of my stuff. I can use my ultra high definition, the UHD, 4K Blu-ray discs on it, which is great. Mind you, it's going to a 1080p projector, so it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to also keep my PlayStation 3 still, because as powerful as a PlayStation 5 is, it will not run 3D discs. And I still love 3D. And so when they created the PS5, they could easily put a patch in. They could run software, because they did it for the PlayStation 4, that would allow it to play 3D Blu-rays. But they're not going to do it. And so now I will never trade in either my PS3 or my PS4, because I will always need a backup 3D disc player.
There you go. And by the way, too, when media, another thing about physical media, obviously you're able to get your 3D that way. Like, even movies that aren't intended to be 3D, it's almost like Deadpool and Wolverine just wanted to quietly throw in just 3D enthusiasts, because I did not see it in 3D, but believe me, everything I saw, like, I had immediate thoughts during certain scenes going, wow, that probably looked amazing in 3D. Or even
the
more
opening
amazing in 3D.
scene with the adamantium skeleton was, I've always said, I love 3D that is not in your face, that is more depth. There are some like Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, if you watch it in 3D, when he's on Morag and he's dancing, it's the depth is there, and it's beautiful. Infinity War, beautiful depth. Even like for Black Panther, when they're going down into the mines, like, it's beautiful. You can see the perspective of it. But Deadpool and Wolverine was so out of the screen, and it was the best way I've ever seen it be used. And it just, like, when you see the digits and the splatter, I'm not going to try to say specifics, but the digits and the splatter and everything, it's like, it's just so out there. It's beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. So the fact that we're not going to get it for home use is the most frustrating thing for me, because they don't produce 3D Blu-ray discs anymore.
Sorry, man.
So, but
glad I
but
could
yeah,
bum you out right at the end of the show. Yay me.
Oh yeah, no. Like I always love to end it on a downbeat. I mean, let's face it,
exactly.
Makes you want nothing more.
We're always going to go out like Empire. You know what I mean? We're going to Infinity War the hell out of this.
But that's the thing, like, then it leads to the end game, so it's perfectly fine.
We're going to Ant-Man 2 this. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
As long as we don't Quantumania it, that's all that matters.
I don't think anybody wants to Quantumania.
Yeah.
That movie has its place, okay? Look, it wasn't the greatest movie. It has its place.
Yes, we're not going to talk about where it's played. I mean, so there are some great concepts. There are some really neat Easter eggs, and we don't need to get on this conversation because we could go another half hour.
Well, we can't go another half
hour. Yeah. Listen, I love all Marvel movies. Some I just love a whole lot less than others. But with that said, we've gone through almost a complete hour. We're going to try to end this off right now, because I know the Nutcracker is taking over your life in your household. And so I want you to be able to get back to your family. But before we do that, please remember, if you, this is going to be the last Fandoms episode with QR codes, at least the way they are now, because StreamYard does not do them. There's a lot of things that StreamYard is just like Restream, but except for that. So be sure to check out Will, and usually Trent, but sometimes me, on Netheads. You can follow the QR code with that baby face bald guy right there to his show.
The baby face bald guy. That guy down there is still, that guy is like a decade younger and still pretending to have hair.
Oh, Peach Fuzz.
No, it grew all along here, and then the stupid island in the front. That it wasn't a good look, man. Let's just leave it at that.
Listen, listen, I know absolutely everything that has to do with not having good looks in the past. I was not bearded for a long time. Um,
I've seen it. It's
everyone
horrific.
says, yeah, and of course I decided to shave my head completely at the time, not because of going through any type of crisis. It was because that was in 2010. That's going to date me. It was in 2010 when I took that picture. I had just shaved my head so that I could cosplay as Doomsday at my first comic convention. And to this day, I have never cosplayed again because when they did it, my wife gave my name and date of birth and everything, like, to the newsplate. So if you looked up my name at that time, it showed that Doomsday. You probably could look it up right now and see, look up Tony Abdullah Baltimore. You'll probably find a Doomsday character, to which I'm ultimately ashamed of. But regardless of that, be sure to check out Netheads. You'll also want to make sure that you check out It's Fanbox. If you are not already subscribed, please make sure you're subscribed. Turn on notifications so you know when the next episode is. We're also planning to do a bunch of really fun shows or like inconsistent stuff on It's Fanbox. I want to do like a Marvel theme thing. I was joking. It's all about like the alliterations and the semantics of the names of stuff to make it fun. So like MC University was like the idea. I want to do a horror type thing. It's called Fear and Friends. My favorite one was the one that I did that I'm calling it the Fandom Menace.
Yes.
So we could talk about toxicity in Star Wars, but also about what the stuff that we love. And we want to do a whole bunch of other stuff. And really, again, the whole purpose of It's Fanbox is for viewer engagement. If you were to go into our chat beyond Mrs. Marvelite, you see Janelle, who's a powerhouse creator on Nerd Initiative, Miranda, Z. There are people who obviously, jump in and comment and are part of not only the Fandoms family but Netheads as well. And they need a space to be able to share as well. You don't need to be a content creator with 10,000 followers. You don't need to be some prolific writer writing articles. You can just have like some really fun thoughts and some hot takes. And the way I want to do it is, like, especially for Instagram, people can just invite us to be collaborators and we can accept it. And then we can try to get, them more time to be able to do stuff and see if it's something that they want to do. Because let's face it, there are people who are too afraid. I was one of them. I was too afraid to get on camera for the first time. And if it wasn't for Mr. Snidbits and the Real Study, which it was Bits and Wicks, I think, before, talking about movies for the longest period of time, I would have never been able to do this, what I'm doing right now. And never would have met Will, never would have met Michael, never would have had Nerd Initiative. It all takes that one step to jump into something to make something better. And I'll be honest, I don't have friends locally. I have friends across the country, and it's only because of taking those steps to do social media and to do other stuff. So we want to have people that do, have that opportunity to do that, because it's about community. Let's face it, if we did it for the money, we wouldn't be doing it. But except for Will, because he knows like Kevin Smith and everybody else. And
all of that started with one person having a website and solicited for audience shows. And the scariest thing I did was come up with a concept, record a thing, and submit it and possibly get rejected. And it sounds like with It's Fanbox, you don't have to worry about the rejection. So yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean,
there's always, look, everybody has a first step. And if it's your first step, just take it. Just take it, man.
Exactly. But with that said, please be sure to follow It's Fanbox. You can also still find this show on anywhere you get podcasts, audio podcasts, because I take the audio and I throw it there. We're going to try to do some new stuff with the show in 2 weeks. So be prepared for that. And when I say we, I mean me, because Will's already trying to, juggle Kevin Smith and Smodcast and Netheads and everything else.
Inviting me from the show?
Oh, you're invited to the show. I just don't want to make you have to work for it.
Oh, okay. I
Do
wouldn't
you want me to
mind
send you
more.
homework? I can send you homework.
I don't do anything as is. That's the beauty of this show. I show up with I have no expectations. I just get to come here and play. I don't have to worry about the flow. I don't have to worry about it goes. I can completely distract the host just to amuse myself. It's a wonderful playground for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So, with that said, we're going to go ahead and end this show, the final show on the Nerd Initiative Network, which I'm, amazingly appreciative. And again, just because we're moving to this Fanbox, I want to remind everybody, I'm still the founder and co-CEO of Nerd Initiative. I'm thankful that there are people that are doing the work, that we can try to do something new and make more spaces. It's about making more safe spaces for people to do what they love. And, you know, we're just going to see where it goes. Hopefully it grows. If it doesn't, we're just going to have fun.